In January 1946, the Indian subcontinent was a patchwork of British provinces and princely states. 17 provinces governed under British rule were now navigating the complexities of elections introduced by the Government of India Act of 1935. While these elections granted some measure of autonomy to Indian politicians, the real power over defense, foreign affairs, and vetoes remained firmly with the British. The first provincial elections of 1937 had set the stage. Congress emerged victorious in 7 provinces, while coalition governments formed in Punjab, Assam, Bengal, and Sindh. The Muslim League, under Jinnah's leadership, suffered losses, securing only 22% of the reserved Muslim seats. But the political landscape was shifting rapidly, and the next elections in 1946 would dramatically alter the balance of power. By 1946, communal divisions had intensified. Decades of tension, fear, and political maneuvering had set the stage for a volatile year. Jinnah, having returned from London in the mid-1930s, now positioned himself as the sole spokesperson for India's Muslims. The Congress, determined to maintain a united India, clashed ideologically with Jinnah's vision of a separate nation. The Royal Navy mutiny in February 1946 highlighted unrest even within the armed forces. Meanwhile, British Prime Minister Clement Attlee dispatched the cabinet mission to India on June 24, 1946, seeking a negotiated path to independence. Their objectives were ambitious: restructure the Executive Council, draft a new constitution, and prepare a political framework for a post-British India. The Cabinet Mission Plan of May 16, 1946, proposed a united India divided into 3 groups of provinces: Hindu majority, Muslim majority in the northwest, and Muslim majority in the east. While the plan allowed autonomy, the central government retained control over defense, communications, and external affairs. Jinnah accepted the proposal, seeing the autonomy as a partial victory, but Congress leaders, particularly Nehru, resisted any skeleton government that would dilute their authority. A critical mistake came when Nehru publicly stated that Congress retained the right to modify the plan. Jinnah perceived this as a direct threat, leading him to reject the Cabinet Mission Plan entirely. On July 29, 1946, Jinnah announced that the Muslim League was preparing for a struggle if Muslims were not granted a separate nation. Direct Action Day was set for August 16, 1946. Bengal, where the Muslim League held the most power, became the epicenter of the ensuing violence. Chief Minister Hussain Shahid Sohrawardi, later labeled the Butcher of Bengal, allowed lawlessness to reign, giving free rein to orthodox, unemployed, and frustrated mobs. Police support for the populist movement ensured that the chaos escalated without interference. By the end of Direct Action Day, Calcutta had become a city of corpses. Approximately 6,000 people were killed, and over 15,000 were injured within 3 days. But these riots were only the beginning. The subsequent months saw waves of violence that swept through Bengal and other provinces, creating a refugee crisis and deepening communal divides. The nation was caught in a storm where fear, hatred, and political maneuvering collided, shaping the tragic path toward partition. Amid the chaos, the British attempted to stabilize governance. On August 25, 1946, the Viceroy announced the formation of an interim government. Key Congress leaders, including Nehru, Patel, and Rajendra Prasad, were appointed to manage the transition. However, 2 Muslim members were to be appointed later, leaving room for negotiation and tension with the Muslim League. The Constituent Assembly, led by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, began drafting the framework for independent India, but real power remained contested between Congress and Jinnah's League. Jinnah's relentless pursuit of a separate Muslim state became evident when he initially refused to join the interim government. Eventually, he nominated Liaquat Ali Khan, who would later become Pakistan's first prime minister.
The Muslim League secured control over crucial ministries, including finance, commerce, railway and communications, post and air, health, and parliamentary affairs. Despite these concessions, communal riots continued to intensify, making cooperation between Congress and the League nearly impossible. The Noakhali riots in October 1946 exemplified the deepening divide. A primarily Muslim area with a history of economic dependence on Hindu moneylenders erupted into violence. Armed mobs looted, burned villages, and forcibly converted Hindus. Chief Minister Sohrawardy neither intervened nor visited the affected areas. Refugees streamed into Calcutta, with over 1,200 arriving daily. Amid this devastation, Gandhi emerged as a beacon of peace, personally walking barefoot through 47 villages in Noakhali, mediating between Hindu and Muslim leaders and rebuilding shattered communities. Gandhi's approach contrasted sharply with the political power struggles at the national level, highlighting the stark difference between grassroots leadership and elite negotiations. The interim government struggled to implement policies as violence continued across multiple provinces. Religious and political tensions escalated with each passing month. The cabinet mission plan, once a potential framework for unity, became irrelevant as mistrust deepened. Leaders on both sides blamed each other, with grassroots violence feeding political maneuvering and vice versa. Economic instability compounded the political crisis. British India was still recovering from the economic depression of the 1930s and the devastation of World War II. Unemployment, famine, and disrupted trade created an environment where extremist rhetoric could easily inflame existing tensions. Political leaders exploited these conditions, using fear and division as tools to consolidate power. By early 1947, the British realized that maintaining control over a united India was impossible. Mountbatten's arrival as the last viceroy marked a turning point. He proposed a timeline for independence that could not be delayed further, recognizing the urgency to prevent further bloodshed. Yet the political and communal violence had escalated to a level where compromise seemed almost unattainable.
The months leading to August 1947 were fraught with negotiations, threats, and concessions. Jinnah's insistence on a separate Muslim state led to repeated clashes with Congress, while Gandhi and other leaders continued advocating for unity and communal harmony. The interim government functioned under immense strain, attempting to maintain essential services amidst riots and political turmoil. Partition became inevitable as negotiations failed. The boundary lines were drawn hastily, leaving millions in confusion and fear. The independence of India on August 15, 1947, was a monumental achievement, yet it came at the cost of unprecedented human suffering. Mass migrations ensued, with Hindus, Muslims, and Sikhs forced to leave ancestral homes, resulting in widespread violence and loss of life. The scale of migration was staggering. Millions crossed borders within months, carrying what little they could salvage. Refugee camps overflowed, and resources were scarce. Despite these challenges, leaders like Gandhi and Nehru continued to negotiate relief measures, organize humanitarian aid, and attempt to restore order in the newly independent nation. Political consolidation in the newly independent India involved integrating princely states, setting up administrative machinery, and drafting the constitution. The Constituent Assembly, under Dr. Ambedkar's guidance, worked tirelessly to frame a democratic system that balanced secular principles with the diverse realities of India's population. Amidst nation-building, communal tensions did not vanish. Sporadic violence continued, especially in areas affected by partition. Leaders faced the dual challenge of establishing governance while preventing further escalation. This period tested the resilience and moral leadership of the Indian political class.
The Muslim League, now forming Pakistan, faced its own challenges. Establishing a new state with administrative, financial, and military infrastructure required careful planning, yet the urgency of independence and migration left little time for methodical institution building. Political power had been won, but governance was an immediate and pressing concern. The human cost of partition was immense. Estimates suggest nearly 1 million people lost their lives and over 10 million were displaced. Families were torn apart, villages were abandoned, and the social fabric of entire regions was irreparably altered. Yet, amidst the tragedy, leaders and ordinary citizens worked to rebuild lives, communities, and governance structures. The international dimension of India's independence also played a critical role. Britain sought to exit with minimal damage to its remaining geopolitical interests, while the United States monitored the region with strategic and economic considerations in mind. Global awareness of India's political turmoil influenced diplomatic relations and post-independence policies. Gandhi's nonviolent philosophy remained a guiding principle even when faced with unimaginable suffering. His presence in riot-affected areas, tireless advocacy for peace, and commitment to communal harmony provided a moral compass for the nation, reinforcing the idea that leadership extended beyond politics to the ethical realm. Nehru, as Prime Minister, navigated the delicate process of integrating diverse provinces, establishing a parliamentary system, and ensuring that India emerged as a sovereign, democratic republic. His vision of a secular India contrasted with the realities of partition, yet it laid the foundation for the nation's long-term stability. By the end of 1947, India and Pakistan had emerged as independent nations, each grappling with the challenges of governance, migration, and reconciliation. The lessons of 1946 to 1947 underscored the complexities of leadership, the fragility of communal harmony, and the profound costs of political division. The story of India's last year under British rule is a testament to resilience, sacrifice, and the enduring struggle for justice and identity. From Direct Action Day to the formation of interim governments and the eventual independence, every decision, every protest, and every act of courage shaped the destiny of millions. If you found this story compelling, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Wealthime Archive to explore more in-depth historical narratives.